What's up, you guys, and welcome to another episode of the Variety Views. And I just got back from watching Spider-Man: Homecoming, and wow, it was great. It was absolutely amazing. Got to see it in 4D, and really, you really got into the movie and the atmosphere and stuff like that. But the thing is, I I don't recommend it because it does get a little bit distracting. Though usually nowadays, whenever I go to theaters, it's really, I don't know. There's something about it where the contrast of the screens, they're just way too low, and it's just really dark, and it's just I can't get into movies nowadays because of that. That's the reason why I prefer to just sit at home, get the Blu-ray, and watch it on my big TV, and it's just like that's the way that I would watch it rather than going to theaters. With a couple of people around me where they're like talking or stuff like that. I just prefer the comfort of my own home. Anyways, now to the review. I really enjoyed it. I really did. It was really well done to the point where even like with everything around it, with like the 4D stuff, it didn't take away too much of the movie. It was a little bit distracting. It was a little bit of a little bit of fun. I remember watching. I got to watch Pirates of the Caribbean in 4D, but I didn't make a review of it because I really want to do somewhere down the line. I want to review all the movies. I didn't really get to see the others, so I can't really compare it enough to make a review, but I have seen all the Spider-Man movies, so I can indeed make a review of this and not be, not have like too much of a biased opinion. So, then again, all reviews are biased, so I can't. Anyways, enough logistics. Let's talk about the movie. Tom Holland, I would say he's the greatest live action Spider-Man ever. Even better than Tobey Maguire, better than Andrew Garfield. He really captured the essence of what a boy becoming a man. And it was so well done. And I loved his arc because even up to the end where he's finally accepting, because he just wants to be an Avenger. He wants to be an Avenger. He wants to be an Avenger. And then at the end, he gets a chance to be an Avenger, and he's like, I don't think that's my thing. Well, not just yet. I rather just stay close to the ground and be your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And I like the fact that they embraced the lore of Spider-Man, not to the point, because this is one thing that I really hate about Marvel, is that sometimes they don't embrace the mythology or anything. They just think something is stupid, whether it's an outfit or a name or an alias or anything like that. They're like, what? Is that really your name? That's stupid. Or is that what you're gonna wear? That's horrible. Like I remember in the Incredible Hulk when he got the purple pants, and he's like, I'm not gonna wear that. Fuck no. Or Luke Cage when he got to wear the yellow outfit with the head, with a metal helmet, and he's like, I look like a damn fool. And it's just like stuff like that really feels like a spit in the face of the creators and the guys who took hours out of their time designing those outfits on comic books and just spent many sleepless nights doing that. It's just come on, just embrace it. And I love the fact that they did embrace it in this in this movie. And there were more techie stuff. Like I'm not too Spider-Man, like I'm not up to date with the Spider-Man stuff in the comic books or in the cartoons, because the last thing I got to see was Spider-Man Unlimited. I got to watch a little bit of the Spectacular Spider-Man, but not to the point where I know it like the back of my hand, or even like Spider-Man, what was it? Ultimate Spider-Man. Yeah, I didn't get to see a lot of Ultimate Spider-Man. From what I saw, I enjoyed, but I agree with a few people where they were like, I felt like Deadpool Spider-Man, where it was way too breaking the fourth wall to the point where you never connected with Spider-Man. I really love the Spider-Man that was the CGI Spider-Man that was on MTV. I remember I really enjoyed that. Those captured those, and then the Spider-Man cartoon, the animated series from 93, 94 ish. I really enjoyed it because it really showed the dilemma of Spider-Man being in high school and juggling, the high school, a job, and relationships and everything. Here it felt the same way. You felt, his struggle, and that's the reason why I think that makes him the best Spider-Man. And plus, he's a nerdy kid, and you got to see more of that, because I remember in the first Spider-Man, which I still think, now this is not. If I'm gonna rank my favorite Spider-Man movies, I would definitely go with the 2002 Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire as the best one, as the definitive one. Spider-Man: Homecoming, it's not. I wouldn't put it like in the top echelon just yet. It really needs to take some time for me to be like, oh, okay, that deserves to be up there. The thing is that I really like about Spider-Man: Homecoming is that, and the difference between that and the definitive Spider-Man, in my opinion, is that they spend enough time building up the character. Because I remember, first off, this is longer than that Spider-Man movie. I think this is like 2 hours, 2 hours or so. It felt like 2 hours or so. So that right there is a problem, because sometimes the story doesn't feel like it's moving forward, or sometimes the arc, the character arc, is just stuck in limbo. Like with Peter. And it does make sense, because it's like he's a teenager. He's 15. It just makes sense. But at the same time, he's not moving forward. Up until the end, they're like, okay, we now accept you because you defy, because sometimes it doesn't make any sense, because Tony Stark says to him that you shouldn't interfere in Avengers. In stuff that's beyond your reach. And then when he does it, he's punished for it. And then when he does it again, he's rewarded for it. It doesn't make any sense. It's just, I don't know. It irked me a little bit. I'm like, yeah, this makes like Tony like a little bit of a douchebag. I mean, yeah, that's his character, but at the same time, he's a lovable douchebag. And in this movie, I felt like if you took away everything, except for just one moment with Tony Stark that I felt like that was important, everything else just was garbage. You can throw it away, and it wouldn't change anything. The part on the rooftop where Peter goes, I'm really sorry. And first off, he's like, I tried to tell you, and he's like, yes, but I believed you. And I'm like, you believed him, but you didn't tell him. Ugh. It's just like, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, I'm the one that called the FBI. Well, a little bit of a heads up would have been great, but no, Peter's like, oh, I'm sorry, I know I fucked up and stuff like that, and it's like, I'm nothing without the suit, and he's like, aha. And this part was in the trailer. It was like, if you're nothing without the suit, then you don't deserve the suit. And I thought that was brilliant. That was a brilliant, a brilliant line that was put in that. And not just that, I really love the ending. The ending was great, even though they kind of, where he was like, Tony still like was like, haha, you're part of the Avengers now. There was a funny moment, and just like, one thing that really made me go, Spider-Man: Homecoming is the greatest title Marvel has ever put out. It's one of the best titles that I've ever seen, because Spider-Man: Homecoming, it has so many meanings. It's a homecoming for Peter. It's a homecoming for everybody around him as well. It's a homecoming for the characters, for the homecoming for the mythology, the stories, everything. And it's also a homecoming for Michael Keaton, and he's back. He's back in the limelight, because Guaranteed. This means more movies for Michael Keaton, more important movies. This is also a homecoming for Marvel because now they're back to their roots. Because for a while now, Marvel movies have been, going downhill. A lot of people, yeah, the box office are just, skyrocketing and everybody's loving the Marvel movies. But I feel like ever since, like, Winter Soldier, Marvel movies started to go down. Yeah, I like the second Avengers movie. I enjoyed, Guardians of the Galaxy. I enjoyed, Volume 2. I enjoyed all of that. That was all great. That was all fine and dandy. But it felt like they were really, they were really departing from what made them so great. What Marvel, what made Marvel so great. Because now they're becoming more of a utopia of great characters, okay? Where it feels like every movie is like a ride rather than a character study. And in this movie, it was more of a character study, and that's what makes Stan Lee great. When you're reading his stories, you're reading like real life problems. And this is one of the reasons why I love DC, why I'm always going to be a DC fan. But there are characters in Marvel where I'm like, holy shit, how come they fucked up this character so bad? Like, I'm looking at Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3. Like, a lot of people love Spider-Man 2 and say, like, it's one of the best, superhero movies of all time. And not just that, but it's the greatest Spider-Man movie. I don't agree. I don't agree at all. Because they're like, oh my god, this is so great, the way it's done and stuff like that. I don't agree. It's way too comic booky. I mean, it's fine. It's like, you're going to be like, okay, oh my god, it's a comic book movie, so it needs to be like that. No. There is a line. There is a line that you should not cross. Like, I'm fine with if you're going to do the hokey and all of that, but there needs to be moments where things need to be brought down to earth. And I feel like in this movie, enough stuff was brought down to earth to make it balanced. Where the movie felt like, okay, this is a ride, but at the same time, you're learning more. You're learning more about the character. They didn't go back. They didn't give you any origin story, although I would have loved maybe a little bit of a flashback or something. Especially for newer viewers, are going to be like, oh no, everybody knows the Spider-Man story. Not everybody knows the Spider-Man story. Maybe years from now, people are going to start watching Spider-Man movies. Maybe this is going to be their introduction to Spider-Man. Like, there's going to be a Blu-ray out there, and they're going to be like, oh, Spider-Man Homecoming. It must be the first one. Let me check it out. And they're like, oh, I don't know anything about him. Sucks. I'm never going to watch a Spider-Man movie ever. It happens. It happened. So I think the best way to do it is they should have had some sort of flashback. Whether him, during a fight or him struggling. There was a perfect moment for that. I remember when he was down and he remembered Tony Stark, his words, and he's like, and then he got up out of the rubble, where there was a moment that was so touching, where it was just like, I almost cried. Like, I almost, tear-eyed. Where he's like under the rubble and he's just like, help, and it's just like you feel like he's a kid. You forget about the fact that, oh my god, he's not just Spider-Man. He's Peter Parker. He's a kid. He's a 15-year-old. And he's under that rubble, and it's like, yeah, but then, he remembered, and then he got out of it like way too quick. It's just like, I really feel like that sometimes when it gets brilliant, when it just gets so awesome, there is just that little thing that, veers it off, off the lane, and, it just like, it loses track a little bit. So, yeah, Michael Keaton was amazing. He was amazing as Vulture. He's probably, I would say, like, he's in the top 3 best supervillains in the Marvel universe. He's definitely better than Loki. I mean, come on, like, stop it with the Loki. You're like, oh, the Loki's like, he's like the Joker. Well, fuck off. He's not the Joker of anything. He's just, no, he's not a great villain. He's not a good villain. He's okay at best. He's a good, supporting, character. I really like Red Skull. Red Skull from the first Captain America was great. I would say the Winter Soldier, although he's not really a villain, but he was a little bit of that when he was brainwashed. Let's see, what other villains were out there? Thanos, never got to see anything from him, so it's not really, you can't really say anything about him. I would say, yeah, Vulture is probably the second best, right next to Red Skull. Red Skull was just amazing, but Michael Keaton is just the one thing that I really didn't like about Vulture was that the way it started, the movie started with, Michael Keaton's character just, you know, I guess he's getting fired from his construction job, and right away, and he's like collecting like these little alien orbs. He's just, it's just like, oh, you're cutting off the middleman. It just like it's just it's one of those. It's so overdone. It's so overdone. Those backstories are so overdone. It's like, you fired me, so I'm gonna become a villain. It's just, I wish there was more to it. The guy, he's like, I'm a middle class America, and he's living in an amazing house, and he's just got this amazing family, and his daughter goes to a great school, and everything is great. It just doesn't make any sense why he would become a villain. Like, if the idea was he's a villain because he likes to be a villain, that would have been better. That would have been so much better. I think that was the missing link. That's the only reason why he's not my favorite supervillain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But other than that, he's just, everything is spot on with him. His demeanor, his tone, his mannerisms, his dialogue, everything, and his direction. I love his direction where he finds out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man and is like, he didn't even say like, "Are you Spider-Man?" He was like, "Does she know?" It's just like, oh, it was amazing. One of my favorite scenes in any movie this year where that happens. It's just like this movie was filled with amazing moments. And it's just gonna go down in history as being one of the best. If not one of the best, somewhere down the line, everybody's gonna be like, you know what? It is one of the best. It might take some time for people to appreciate it, but my God, there were so many amazing moments. I'm getting the goosebumps just talking about it. So yeah, Tom Holland, greatest Spider-Man in the big screen. I'm really looking forward to whatever he's gonna do next. There are a little bit of Easter eggs going on there. I believe one of them was Tomb, who was with the Vulture, and Shocker was there. So I'm guessing there's gonna be Sinister Six somewhere down the line, because we did get 2 out of 6, and we got what's the name of the character? What's the name of that guy? That guy, he's now in everything. He got his start in Far Cry, and then he started to gain some traction. He's now in freaking Better Call Saul, and it's just like he's pretty much everywhere now. When I saw him, I was just like, I was marking out. I was like, holy shit, he's there. I'm guessing he's gonna be some sort of a Mysterio or something like that. I don't know. The girl who's playing Michelle, but then she was like, oh, but people call me MJ. It's like, fuck. This was so stupid, and I hated her. I hated her so much. Where she's like following Peter, and she's like, I'm just observant. It's just like, you're trying to be cute. You're trying to be cute. I hate that. I hate those characters that are like that, like frickin' Juno, and it's just like, oh, I'm quirky just because I'm quirky, and it's just, there's no reason for your quirkiness. You're trying to be, you're trying to be cute and stuff like that. It's not like that at all. It's just, you come off as a freaking stalker and just a freaking creep. It's horrible. I hate it. I really hate that characteristic. The only way for something like that to work is there's a reason behind it. Whether she's like a freaking, serial killer, or she's infatuated with him, and then there's a backstory to it. I mean, yeah, maybe down the line they're gonna be like, oh no, she loves him and stuff like that, but still, like, It's horrible. I don't know. It just gives me the jitters whenever I think about something like that. Did I just say jitters? Anyways, it's just I don't like that. I don't like that character. I don't want anything like that, in a movie ever. It's just like it's such a stupid cliche. I hate it. I don't care if, Mary Jane is black, blue, yellow, orange. It doesn't matter. I don't care. I don't give a fuck about whitewashing or blue washing or or black washing, whatever. Just I don't care. Just give me a good character and I'm fine. Nick Fury is black. He wasn't black ever. He wasn't always black. You forget that. Just you give me a good character and I'm fine with it. I'll go with it. But this MJ is she's a fucking whore. Ugh, fucking $2 hooker. Hater. So anyways, that was my review of Spider-Man Homecoming. I would give it like an 8.5 out of 10. I want to go 9, but it's just like there was not that part where I'm like, oh yes. Again, back to the Homecoming thing. Pepper Potts makes a return to the MCU. Oh, I loved it. I loved it when she came back, and just like, oh, this is a homecoming for her as well. And just like she came back, and it's just like, and not just that, but they're reunited. Tony Stark and Pepper Potts, and he's gonna pop the question at the end just because fucking Spider-Man didn't, Peter Parker didn't take his place in the Avengers. I like that. I love everything about that. That's the reason why I love that ending. And then the after credits where Michael Keaton is in jail and he's like, one of the inmates was like, so apparently, we got the tip off that who Spider-Man is, and he's like, if I knew him, don't you think that I would have killed him by now? And I like the fact that there is a little bit of hope for Keaton, like Keaton's character. There is a little bit of hope for the Vulture, where it's more interesting, where you don't know where that character is going to go, where they're unpredictable, whether he's going to be full on bad guy or he might be a good guy at the end. You don't know. So, what if, I'm just putting this out there, what if the Vulture does something in Infinity War where he sacrifices himself to save the Avengers or humanity? He just gets, he does something and to save everybody and redeems himself. I think that would be a great way to go out. I think that would be an amazing way to go out, actually. Just something to put out there, and I would love for it to happen, and I would just go crazy. So Spider-Man Homecoming, check it out if you haven't, and please rate, comment, favorite, please subscribe, and check the next video where I'll be talking about something else.